PK Melts. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
Yes.
Still feels like I'm ran over from last year. I don't know if I'm ready for a New Year yet.
I am.
PK Melts.
That is like your favorite commercial now, all of a sudden.
Happy New Year. 2025. Here we go. Already off to a terrible start. Derpy stick. I'm sure he has a thermometer hanging out of his mouth right now. Mom, can I get more water?
I need some vapor rub.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 667. I gotta tell you, one part, whenever that song starts really ripping there at the beginning, it does something. It's so weird because it does something to my studio light, where the studio light starts flickering kind of faster as the music gets faster. I don't know what caused that, what that's all about, but it does. I loved it. I was digging it on this end. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 667. We survived 666 the other day. I do want to say special thank you to Chad Brown. Came on the show on Tuesday on New Year's Eve. Had a great time.
I know. I was surprised.
When we get a guest, we don't ask them, or we don't suggest you stick around for an hour, but he stuck it out.
He did. He was like, I'll talk to these knuckleheads for a little while longer. It did great, dude. Like, I know you had this like in the works for a while now, reaching out, and he said, "Oh, we probably coming down the pipe." And it was like, what, a day or two later, you text me like, "Oh, Chad Brown's on." I'm like, "Oh my god, that was fast. That was quick."
Yeah.
It was great, man. I loved it.
There's just certain points during the interview I'm thinking to myself, this guy used to be my idol. I used to sit there at my parents' house on my little fold-out chair, watch my Steeler games. Like one of these, almost like a bed chair.
Yeah.
They kind of fold out. It was something that we had in the 90s. And I remember just always every weekend just watching the game on my chair, and Chad Brown, he was one of my dudes,
too, man. It was a trip talking to him, and just you sit there, you're listening to him, watch them speaking. You're like, I used to watch this guy rip quarterbacks' heads off for a living.
30 years ago.
I know. It did not feel like, I told him it felt longer that these guys were on the team. And and it felt like they had a bigger run than what they actually had. That's just how impactful they were at that era, man, on us.
Absolutely. So especially grateful for Mr. Chad Brown. Was awesome being able to talk to him. Also, Mike, as I was telling him on the show the other day, we just didn't have the luxury of the internet like we have now. If you wanted a Chad Brown shirt, you had to really, really go work for it and find it and travel. And, if you had to know people, basically in the early 90s, you had two guys from your team that had a jersey, and you had to go to the Foot Locker in your local mall to find these two jerseys. I can recall one of them for sure during that era being Rod Woodson. I can't even think who the other one would be at this time, but if you wanted a Rod Woodson jersey in the early 90s, they were readily available. But to find a Chad Brown, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the resources that we have. So I would have certainly had me a Chad Brown if I could have. But as I said, it just wasn't like that yet. You didn't even know that it was going to be like that. You knew that, I could go get a Rod Woodson jersey. That's cool because it's a Steeler.
Rod Woodson and Greg Lloyd, man. Those were the two. Those were the two that you could get anywhere. Anyone else, it was like hard to find. Every once in a while, I would see a Cornell Lake one, and like you actually had to go down to the stadium and buy them at the shop there.
No offensive players. It was always defensive guys when you were buying a Steeler jersey. It just became the acceptance.
Yeah. So. Not many people had the Yancey Thigpen jersey,
You know what's funny? I had Yancey Thigpen and Carnell Lake. You just mentioned those are two tough
the two
jerseys
that
to
you could
find.
never get.
Those were the only two that I had. I didn't have all these. That's who I had. I had Carnell Lake and I had Yancey Thigpen. As a matter of fact, I still think I have that Thigpen somewhere put away, but I'm pretty sure Carnell Lake.
Like Chad Brown said, he believes Carnell should be in the Hall of Fame. Carnell wasn't. He was an underrated safety in that era.
Oh, absolutely.
Ronnie Lott gets all the credit and well deserved too. That guy was a Hall of Famer for sure. But Carnell Lake was no slouch, man.
It all depends, Mike. Is it going to be if it was the Hall of Very Good? Maybe. Maybe we
shouldn't go there.
But anyway. Anyway, guys, good morning. Welcome back to the show. Also, another thing that's been pretty rough so far in these first couple of days. I woke up yesterday. I had no voice. My voice was gone entirely. And I thought, I'm getting a neurovirus. I'm getting a bird flu, whatever is going around. You know what I think it is? I think it's because I snore. I looked up online. I looked my symptoms up. I think it's because I snore. Because if you snore aggressively when you sleep, there's a chance that it could irritate your uvula, your little hangy ball, and that's what the deal was. My little uvula was so swollen when I woke up, and it's from the dry air and then also snoring apparently. But anyway, as the day went on, it went away. My voice obviously came back, but that Derpy being sick, he's not in today. The year could have started off a little bit better, but you know what? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
It could have started off better, but you know what? It's all good. It's all good. You know, it started out great for us. We had Chad Brown on, but you know, your health concerns you just got to power through it, bro.
That was the last day of the year, so I mean, it was like pretty much a finale with Chad Brown, but the year itself is.
It feels like it's we're moving forward.
We have no choice, my friend. Let's start with.
Way to start the show off with the banger. Let's start with. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much here. Let's start with these picks on the All-Pro team.
Yeah.
We have 4 starters. 4 guys got picked, and they all were at the top of the list of being picked for the Pro Bowl for their position. I think. I don't know. I got a little.
I think Watt was like number 2.
Yeah,
he'll be a starter, but you know he wasn't the number 1 vote getter.
Yeah. Yeah, he fell behind that Benito guy in Denver. Anyway, we'll get to that in just a second. The Pro Bowl games. Apparently, there was Steelers that were picked for the Pro Bowl games themselves.
Okay. Is it like reindeer games?
And we'll Killebreau's in there. Okay, here we go. So for the Pro Bowl games, hey, how you doing, Mark Malone? Good morning this morning. Very good question. We'll get to that in 1 second. After I get this all-pro voting figured out, it's written in Chinese, I swear to you. So what I have here is 4 Steelers led their positions in Pro Bowl voting, and those 4 players are Cam Hayward, Chris Boswell, Christian Kuntz, at long snapper, and then also special teams player Miles Killebreau. But also, Mike, I'm looking at the list, and that also has the Pro Bowl games, and then it has Boz, Cam, Minka, and Watt. So who's on the team and who isn't? Who made the All-Star team and who didn't? It's kind of confusing the way that they have this listed.
It is because Kuntz was not listed as the long snapper. I have Ross Masachik from Jacksonville Jaguars as the long snapper.
That's what I'm saying. This is really confusing.
But so on the actual team, we have Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, and league MVP Chris Boswell.
And this is Boz's 2nd trip, Minka's 5th trip, and Cam and TJ Watt, this is both their 7th trip to the Pro Bowl. But these other guys, they led their position. I don't understand how Kuntz and Killebreau. Again, Mike, I don't know. I'm reading Chinese here. If you could clarify at any point, that'd be
no idea.
All right, let's move on. I'm over that. Let's just jump over to Mark here on the board. Good morning, Mark Malone, and Happy New Year, my friend. Great to see you. Phil the Steel, also great to see you as well. we could get right into these guys. Mike, we'll start with Roman Wilson, then we'll get into TJ, what he's accomplished here over the past couple days. Mike, Roman Wilson also alongside with Cole Holcomb, linebacker who's been out all season with his injury, and I think Logan Lee also back on the practice field this week. Mike, all hands on deck. We don't know. We don't have any detail on the Roman Wilson situation or Cole Holcomb, but at this point in the season, with an all hands on deck situation, you got big games coming up. You have a huge game coming up on Saturday evening and then into the playoffs. Mike, is there any chance? Good morning, Jen. Is there any chance that the Steelers, we see any of these players on the field over the next 2 weeks?
Logan Wilson, I think that's going to be a flat out no. Cole Holcomb is also a no.
Did you say Logan Wilson?
Lee. Logan Lee. I was looking at
Wilson or Logan
I pulled
Lee. Give me one or the other.
You missed.
You know that I'm confused. You know that it's. I'm sick. You know that it's
I can't. I know. I'm not allowed to confuse players' names. I apologize. Logan Lee. Logan Lee.
Listen, if you confuse players and I confuse players, then what the hell are we doing
Logan
here?
Lee, he's gonna.
Screwed.
For me, I don't think he's going to play. Cole Holcomb as well. He's still limited with that knee. I don't see him playing. Roman Wilson, I'd say there's a 25% chance we see him in the regular season finale. But if we do see him, it's going to be in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to play him this last game. I just don't. I think if they are, it's going to be in the playoffs. Right now, I don't see it, but I would like to see. I would like to see him in this
guy
game.
that hasn't played a single down all season.
Because wouldn't that be a Pittsburgh? Wouldn't that be the Pittsburgh thing to do? We want to get him acclimated back into the system, get a full week in before he actually plays and gets him out.
That's how Coach gives a period of time for people to kind of ease in. And then he's going to take this dude and throw him in the playoffs. I don't know. It's you have to be determined. But again, these three names certainly have been activated at practice this week and have been practicing, as Mark did mention. That is Cole Holcomb, that is Roman Wilson, and also Logan Lee. So here in about 50 some hours, we'll find out if we'll be playing in the last game of the year. But as of right now, Roman Wilson, Cole Holcomb, and Logan Lee, I don't think has played it down. Logan Lee hasn't. Has he played this year?
He's been hurt all year as well.
So we will see. We'll see, and then we'll see after that. We got a week until the playoffs start. Put it to you this way: 10 days from now, get this, and don't shoot me, but just think 10 days from now, the Steelers season could be over entirely. I hope it's not, and I don't think it's going to be. But you figure next weekend, if the playoffs start, let's say we play Saturday, we could be done. Steelers could be done in 10 days from now. Does that just rock your world or what? I can't even believe it.
You know what? I'll take it. We can go down to Florida, hit some golf balls with the rest of the Steelers.
Well, that does nothing for me.
Go start an early vacation with them. You would think.
That's great for us. That's great for the show. For nothing.
It's good. It's good for my soul. It's good for my soul.
This team has to get a playoff win. This team has to get the Houston Texans. This team has to win. They have to beat a team that scored 2 points against the Ravens. I think we could do it, guys. But let's not skip over this game. Of course, week 18, Saturday night, we have the second game of the day, an all AFC North day. Of course, the early game is between the Ravens and the Browns. I don't think the Ravens have any chance, just as we didn't have any chance of losing to the Browns the second time we played them. And I don't think Cleveland's heart is in it anymore. God, no. I don't think their heart's in it, 18 weeks out of the season. But I got to be honest with you. Last game, they're ready to hang it up. Or, Mike, do they have just enough fight in them to say, let's give this Baltimore Ravens team a fight? I think the opposite. I think they wrap it up and they start golfing after this weekend.
I think so, too. The minute you start playing DTR over a healthy Jameis Winston, you've given up. Jameis Winston gives you the best chance to win. So,
yeah.
Hey, I wasn't the only one on board with the Renegade blasphemy, okay?
It was you and Brian. You and Brian started the whole Renegade blasphemy. So go ahead. Continue your argument, please.
I was trying to talk myself out of this when I realized I boxed myself into a corner. Shit. Yeah,
let's get back to
I will take full and personal responsibility for the utter collapse that is happening right now.
Let's jump back to Phil. I don't want to skip over him. We do want to say yes, congratulations. TJ Watt did win the team MVP as he was voted by his teammates for a was it Mike a fifth time.
Yeah, fifth time.
Passing Antonio Brown, if I'm not mistaken, for the most times ever voted for team MVP by his own teammates. He is now Mike. He has more. He's been voted more than anybody else in Steeler history to win the team MVP. That is huge for Phil to steal. We know that's Phil's guy. I'm sure that I'm sure there's some people that ain't happy, but I think a lot of people are.
Yeah,
I mean, we win 2 games this season off of Boswell's toe entirely.
Exactly.
Was there any game that we won entirely from TJ? Well, it's not set up that way for that to happen. But at the end of the day, he made some plays that helped us win.
Big game-changing plays like the punch outs on the goal line, against the Giants. He was held in check most of the game, but when it mattered most, he stepped up, had the forced fumble, against Cincinnati, the forced fumbles. So he affected the game more, but I don't know. I would have given it to Boz, but do you really want to give the kicker your team MVP? It's like it's kind of one of those guys.
If he's your most valuable player, I think you
have to. And I think they should. I think it should have been him. But hey, you know what? Ben never won the award, so
yeah, that's what tells you.
Yeah, that's what tells. Yeah, it's
what I make of that is, I think Ben just probably said, I mean, come on, the guy was a generational quarterback. He probably, just the way he was, he probably just said, you know what, kind of an unwritten thing with the team. You vote for somebody else, get somebody else, because again, in 18 years, Ben never wins this award. Is crazy.
Yeah.
The guy is one of the top 10, maybe 5 passers of all time. So, but there you go. Then I listen. I stand behind this. I think TJ Watt's a good one. I would have liked to see Chris Boswell just because, but you know what? I'm totally cool with TJ. I'm very happy with that, and congratulations.
I was going to say real quick, I could also made a case for Cam Hayward too. Those 3 would have been my choice.
I don't know if he would have been like team MVP, but, he's played. He played good.
He played really well.
He has a good team. He has a good season. Phil also says, I thought Ratbird Steelers were going to show they were kings of the North, but after 3 terrible losses, Steelers Saturday's game versus the Bengals, they better come out and show their team and wake the F up. This is such a big game, and it's more, I mean, realistically, it's bigger for Cincinnati than it is for us. But we have to, really figure out how to turn this thing around after what we just went through. So this game is big for us. I mean, you go into the playoffs with 4 straight losses. Let's face it, you're playing the best quarterback in the league. I think this guy leads the league in passing yards. So at the end of the day, yes, their defense is a paper bag, but we have to come out and figure out a way to score more points than them one more time. We did it once already with a 44-38 win. We have to figure out how to do it one more time, and then we'll be back at it next week. Hopefully against Houston. That's kind of who I'm pulling for. Yeah, that's true. Jen says, how could you win Defensive Player of the Year if you don't win your team MVP? Good question. Good call. But that is, again, TJ Watt's 5th. That's his 5th team MVP. Passes Antonio Brown. So, I don't know. I guess that TJ Watt guy might be all right.
He might have a future in the league.
Maybe. Also, Zach Frazier was named the Steelers Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
Zach Frazier. Any disagreement on that?
No, none whatsoever. It's good. Him or McCormick, the only 2 that I would.
I think McCormick is somewhat more impressive
for being a 6th-round pick. Yeah, not
6th-round pick, getting thrown in there, sticking in there, and basically doing all the work that Frazier does. On top of his availability was better because he didn't get injured and miss time like Frazier did. Did Frazier miss?
Yeah, he missed time, but I still Zach Frazier was. I think he's played head and shoulders above McCormick this year.
Yes. Interesting.
But I tell you what, they're going to be a dynamic duo going forward, though.
Alex Highsmith wins the Chief Award here in Pittsburgh. Highsmith, the Chief Award. Zach Frazier, the Rookie of the Year. Again, TJ Watt, the team MVP. And then we also announced who the All-Pros are, I think. There's other guys on the list that I don't even know if they're on the team, but they had more votes than anybody else.
That's what I was reading too on Twitter. It was like Kuntz had the most votes, but is not named to the Pro Bowl. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, and Killebrew, and it's Kuntz.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. How could your long snapper have the most votes at that position and not be on the team?
I forget if they have like other they use fan voting and then like league voting as well too. I can't remember how it works. But we were robbed. Killebrew should have been there. Christian Kuntz should be there. I don't know how Minka made it. I'm not trying to be a Minka hater. I'm just
the votes. I mean, he got the interception, and then the voting stopped. Yeah. So basically, how did they come to that conclusion?
Like in a lot of leagues, though, it's a popularity contest.
Jen says, "I don't want to see the season end." Oh, gee, me neither. Because once you get to that, the day after the Super Bowl, again, Mike, we plan for the draft and free agency and everything else here on the show, but you just know that there's, you're 6 months away from football again. You have the spring leagues, but it just ain't the same.
Yeah, it's not the same at all.
Mark Malone says probably that chronic masturbator Derpy. You know what? I think Derpy just had a little bit too much of that, a little too much of Aunt Peach's pie this weekend. Maybe I think that might be what's up with his throat. But he apparently has no voice at all. So some of Aunt Peach's pie might have did it to him.
Didn't realize enough from West Virginia.
Oh, close enough, Ohio, right?
No. Don't put that evil on us.
Bro, Yin's got it. Yin's got it. We got to keep that Skowronovic dude around. Mark still on the board. I like him. At this point, I'll take anybody who steps up, anybody who makes plays.
Dude, he's
Skowronovic. If it's who's that other guy? Who's the other white guy? Miller. Scotty doesn't know Miller.
Yeah,
come on.
He makes making more plays than Van Jefferson.
That's what I'm saying. Come on.
I think of what.
Who was the guy we had last year that was last year's Van Jefferson?
Allen Robinson.
We got to quit bringing these guys. Those are Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, if we could have got Allen Robinson of 6 years ago, hell yeah, sign me up, Mr. 1,000 yards every season.
Yeah. Phil still says, yeah, 15 is going to develop and show he wants to battle.
That's Skowronovic, baby.
Mark Malone says, that's one sick bastard he said about Derpy.
He is. He plays wholesome and innocent on the show.
Yeah. No, don't ask me any rated R questions.
Those
look at him.
Closet freaks. Him in his fursuit.
Yeah. So I think we're 3.5 point underdogs. Is this right, Mike? Am I reading this right? Are we 3.5 point underdogs at home? To the Bengals?
I think you are right. Last line I saw, it was around that range. I think the last one I saw was like -2.5, and so the -3.5 wouldn't surprise me. Hold on, updated 2.5, -2.
So we're home dogs. You know what? I think we've been underdogs almost every game this season. There was very few games that we were favored, which is odd considering before last, 3 weeks ago we were sitting at 10-3. But again, this could possibly be because it is a more important game for Cincinnati. It's going to be interesting. Who knows how this thing's going to play out, Mike? I gave us a win here at the end of the season to finish out before we started this gauntlet of games. But now I don't know what to think. You think you'd want to go into the playoffs with a little momentum and not stumble in. But I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what I think is going to happen.
This is the team. Like we match. It's like the kind of matchup we want to go against. Like their defense is not good. This is what our offense needs to go up against. We need to get out of this funk. And it's kind of the offense I want our defense to go up against. A high-powered offense. And, you got guys calling each other out and then saying they worked on everything in practice this week. They're all back on the same page. Okay, this is the offense I want to see that against. A team where you have to be on your P's and Q's to stop. You have to be communicating constantly to be able to shut down those two great wide receivers. This is what I want us to play. This for me, this is the perfect opponent. So defense for our offense to get back on track, and same thing with their offense. It's the offense our defense needs to go against to get back on track, because you have to be focused against this team to stand a chance on against their offense.
You know what pisses me
A
off?
lot of things.
If this isn't well, yeah, but if this isn't a case of the local Pittsburgh media being a bunch of jagoffs, and let
Day
me give
ending
me
and
a second
why?
to explain. Last week that they came out with this Cam Hayward is all this controversy. They're all calling out a
Mhm.
guy, one guy on the team isn't playing, and there's and once everybody in the city's speculating for 4 days, they continue to let the BS rumor go on. Listen, Cam Hayward comes out and says this. I was speaking generally, it's football terms. He says 10 guys do their jobs, one guy does it, it's not going to work. You've heard the term, you've watched games, you follow sports, and going back, that makes perfect sense. It sounds to me like the media here really tried to make this a story when it wasn't, Mike. I don't think he's lying. I don't think he's BSing back out of this. I think that makes perfect sense. Again, if we had a team here, which we do, and one person wasn't holding their own, you know what I mean? You just in general say, hey, listen, if one of us isn't doing our job, the show isn't going to be
Yeah.
as good as it always is. I kind of, as I'm looking back, taking the story that the media put out and looking at now what Cam's rebuttal is, I believe him. Because this is Pittsburgh's media in a nutshell. So that it didn't surprise me, and I do think that there's probably not as much made out of these stories that we took last week and ran with than there really is in this
I
team.
think there was something there. Like when you have more than just one guy saying, there's communication breaks down. Everyone, but there's one player not, doing, you know,
But there's no one player that never formulated. We don't have. There's no player. There's no.
they're not
I
going to
mean,
call out that player, but you can kind of look on film. You can kind of see Cam Sutton wasn't doing stuff.
but he made the comment after that player had an interception last week, and after I just it didn't make sense to me. The whole thing really seemed like a Pittsburgh media blunder.
I don't know. It's one that the players started themselves by multiple players saying, not everyone's on the same page. You know, everyone needs to do their job when 10 are doing it and one isn't. Multiple people said that too. So that's what made me.
But I need the answer. Here's the thing, there's no answer. The answer is this. Cam speaking out and says in general
Yeah.
terms, as what I was saying. If that's his explanation and there's no player, we're still going to sit here and play jag-off media games for the next month. I refuse to do that. And again, Mike, are we for sure that it was Minka Fitzpatrick?
Could have been Minka, could have been Cam Sutton. That's what it's looking like on the
Exactly.
film, and I don't think anyone's.
So it's all speculation, basically, off
Yeah,
of
but
what was said.
they're the one who started their own fire.
Okay.
Usually, I'm with you. Like the Pittsburgh media starts stuff out of nowhere, but this one they kind of did
I take it
themselves.
as football cliche. Football cliche, just like anything. We have this basketball team. If one guy doesn't play, we're not going to win. You need all five guys to be on there. That's the way I took it. Anyway, there's no dispute. There's no battle. There's no anything going on between this team and the locker room, which I think is a good thing, especially getting ready to head into the playoffs. Let me say good morning to Gregory. Gregory says, I'm a Commanders fan. My money in house is on Steelers versus Bengals. It's all about perception. Everybody talking Bengals win to get into the get in, go against the public. You know what? That's such a good point because the Bengals, they are just they bungle it up, and they've bungled things up for the past 35 years of my life watching the Steelers. Why is there why is it any different than it was the rest of my life? Maybe because they have a good quarterback. Well, you had Carson Palmer, you had Boomer Esiason, you had plenty of ample uh, pretty damn good quarterbacks. They bungle it up, and I think Gregory's right. Maybe this is also the media making this more of a game than it should be. Um, but we will see Saturday night. Roger said it's like I said the other day: if the offense doesn't score a touchdown on every drive, someone didn't do their job, and if the other team scores, someone on defense didn't do their job. Again, that if you were a football player or a coach and you spent any time in a locker room, these words come out of people's mouths all the time. Exactly what you just said, exactly what Cam just said. There's a lot of cliche in pro sports, especially football. But I can't say I disagree with you, Roger. And then also Mark Malone said, I think it was Stinka. So Minka is the one who Mark would think would be the one who wasn't holding their own. And I think performance wise, I think that's
Yeah.
a safe bet. But at the end of the day, the horse whose mouth it came out of came back and covered his tracks, and it's on you to whether you want to believe him or not. I tend to believe him on this case. Finchy says, Happy New Year's, everyone. Boom! Hey, Finchy, we're happy to see you back tomorrow, my friend. Finchy will be here tomorrow with us. Also, Field of Steel says, if the Steelers lose this last game and lose it the same way versus Baltimore and Kansas City, time for Tomlin to go. I'm ready for a new era. Seriously. You know what? We either have to go all in or not. That's the thing where I'm at with that Field of Steel. I think at some point that may be the answer. Maybe it's now. I don't know. But when we do, it's got to be kind of an all-in thing. I don't think you could half-ass that kind of move. Again, we guaranteed to get anybody that's as good as Coach Tomlin is at the end of the day. Are we getting Super Bowls? No. But as the guy we bring in, maybe he ends up being a 3-14 kind of guy. You just don't know. So listen, again, I'm not against if that's what it is when the time comes. I think they have to go all in and just do it. Maybe start bringing in, new crops of players, cutting off the fat of some of the players that are eating up money now. I just don't think you could go half-assed, and then we'll sit around and say, well, why is this team no good? Maybe his players, blah, blah, blah. So, it has to happen right, I think. I don't think it's going to happen in the next couple of years. We got this signing last year for Tomlin and his extension, so we have at least a couple seasons. But after that, we'll see how it goes, guys, and we'll base it off of that. A couple of things I do want to say also, injuries this week at let me catch Gregory real quick. He says, you guys win every year, no matter talent. No way I'm getting rid of Tomlin. That's what I'm saying right there. That's the opposing argument, guys. We're sick of it. We want to be back in a Super Bowl. It's been a while since we won a playoff game. But that's the argument that Gregory says right there. We win all the time. There's no two ways about it. There's a lot of teams that don't win the Super Bowl, like we're not, that don't win all the time. There's plenty. There's probably about 27 of them. So are we in the worst possible boat to be in? I don't think so. We're in a good boat. Of course, we would like to see more championships and more opportunity for championships. But at the end of the day, you just don't know if you're going to bring it. And then let's say we fire that guy after 3 seasons of bad football. As if we could deal with 3 seasons of bad football here in Pittsburgh. God, no. 3, let's say 2 seasons under 500 and 1 season right around maybe a game over. We fire that guy. Let's say we bring in the next guy, and he's no better. So now not only do we have a wide receiver problem and a quarterback problem, now we're sitting around going, geez, we need a coach too. So maybe Gregory is right. I tend to agree with him to an extent. But the Pittsburgh Yinzer part of me just wants me to say, come on, get somebody in here. I want to win a Super Bowl. But you know what? Exactly. Gregory says 31 teams every year don't win one. That's 100% truth. And guess what? We are one of the 2 teams that did win more than anybody else. So maybe, just maybe Greg hit it on the head. Also, let's keep up on the board. It's moving good today. Also, let's see. Greg says Tomlin's a damn good coach. Next on the list, Mark Malone says a drunken street bum could coach this team to a winning record. Okay. And you know what? Maybe. I don't know. We tend to win a lot of football games. We went from 2 guys that ended out in the Hall of Fame, 3rd possibly here coming up. So it's hard to say, guys. Let's see. Also, Patriot Watch USA, welcome. Good morning. Tomlin coach, good coach, coaching in wrong era. NFL passed him by. Interesting take. Actually, really interesting take. Mark Malone says, no, Tomlin is a BS artist that was hired to sell merch. Patriot Watch USA says, run the ball and play defense is old NFL. You're right. We're certainly like selling in the quarterback era, are we? NFL is all about the offense. And then Patriot offense also says, or Watch also says, offense wins championships. Someone should notify the Steelers and tell them. A lot of good points, Mike. I mean, I think you could make the argument on both sides on a lot of these, but they are very, very valid and good points this morning on the board. And Jen, I think maybe she just put the icing on the cake and said Steeler fans are spoiled. No, not
Never.
Us, right?
Never.
Couldn't be us. Roger says, I'm guilty of this, but regardless who coaches the Steelers, fans do not have the patience, and we expect Super Bowl. Absolutely. No 2 ways. There's not, listen. And there's all this debate on lately on who's really a Steeler fan and who's a fair weather fan. And You're not a fan if you think this, and you're not a Steeler fan if you don't like this guy. Which, oh, that's BS. It's all crazy. If you love football and you love your Steelers, and you're a good fan, and you're a fan. Nobody should tell you if you're a fan or not. That's stupid. But this is true. If you are a Steeler fan, most of the time, you expect and you want to win that Super Bowl every year. Every year. There's never been a year that I started a Steelers season where I said to myself, I hope we don't win it this year. It's crazy. That's crazy talk. You think the Yankees never want to win a World Series? You know. Guys, let's move on here a little bit. The only Steelers who have made more Pro Bowls than TJ Watt. A little bit more smoke to blow up TJ Watt's ass here, guys. These are the only Steelers to make more Pro Bowls than TJ Watt was Mean Joe Green, Jack Lambert, Mike Webster, Marquise Pouncey, Franco Harris, and Ernie Stoutner. That's right, six guys that wore the black and gold in their career. There's only been 6 of them that has more all-pro appearances than TJ Watt, Mike.
5 of them were what, Hall of Famers, and then Marquise Pouncey, you can argue, is a borderline Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
Not bad. Not bad for worst outside linebacker in NFL history. Most overrated player of all time. Not bad. Not bad company.
Greg says talking to a Commander fan ain't won anything for 30 years. And then also Mark Malone says, I sure as hell hope that the great secondary master, Mike Tomlin, can get this secondary all on the same page.
I just want to know who says that about Mike Tomlin. Are they in the room with you?
Well, that's what I was always told, though, too. When he came here, he was the big coach. He was the secondary guy in Minnesota. And then when they won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. So I think that's his reputation.
Well, he was a wide receiver in college, and then he coached DBs in 2 places. No one ever called him a guru. They said he was a former DB coach.
See, I heard different, especially early on. But you know what? I have not heard those words
in
many
years.
The
first time hearing that he was some supposed wizard.
Yeah, see, I did early on. Jen says, my husband, rest in peace, was a diehard Redskins fan, and I know their struggles. I'm going to be honest with you, too, Greg. I'm a Redskins fan as well. The Commanders, not so much. The Redskins, if you know me, you know I love that. And hopefully one day, for the people that it represents, maybe they'll get it back again. I know that there's a lot of people that are native that would love to have that back on that helmet. That is my team. I like the Washington Redskins.
I like the football team.
Mike likes the one that's
it's so generic, man. That's like when you make that generic video game, you can't get the rights to anyone.
I mean, they were the Redskins like that since the 1920s or something. And all. I don't know. Get crazy talk. Patriot Watch USA. 2/3 of Steelers cap spent on defense. Look at the last several primetime games. Points. I couldn't agree with you more. I would shed that. Listen, I would shed so much off that defense right now. Because they're not winning you the games. Why pay all the money out? Shed that. Go use that money. Get yourself your franchise quarterback. That's where it all starts. That's your. We're gonna dance around in a circle until this happens, but that's the answer. You need your guy. You need your quarterback. You need your franchise guy. You do whatever it takes. And maybe New England is ahead of the learning curve because here they are starting over, building from the ground up, getting the number 1 pick at the moment in the NFL draft. Maybe New England is a little smarter than we thought. I mean, come on. This team has been successful. They know what they're doing up there. Also, Mark Malone says it was all the rage when he was hired. Jen says, I almost put it on his headstone. He was a firefighter, so I put that instead. Yeah, I would have put that too. I would have put the firefighter. Yeah. But, you know, I get it, though. I get it. And again, I have nothing against the Washington organization. It is what it is. It's NFC. You never really had to be concerned about them. When I was growing up, it was impressive. They were winning Super Bowls. Mark Rippon, Joe Theismann, Doug Williams. I mean, those 3 teams won Super Bowls as I was growing up. So I definitely knew a lot about those Redskins back in the day. Another thing, Mike, that popped up over throughout the week is Dante Jackson re-aggravates his back injury. How does that play into the role of being able to stop and slow down Joe Burrow and company on Saturday night when they come to the
That's gonna hurt, Mike? And he leads the team in interceptions. He's a ball hawk. Like you said, it's all hands on deck right now. Like you're gonna play James Pierre, you're gonna play Corey Trace Jr. and have them cover T. Higgins 1-on-1. Have one of those guys try and cover Jamar Chase 1-on-1. Yeah, it's huge. You need Dante Jackson.
Well, Mike, one thing that I do know about this game, we might be at somewhat at an advantage. And here's why. John Hussey it's his crew this week, and the NFL's officiating crew is led by John Hussey. Now, the speculation is he might let the players have more leeway on the field because his team generally does let the players have more leeway where other teams are flag happy. Maybe, just maybe, Mike, he'll let Joey Porter, do what Joey Porter does, and some of those things will be able to work to our advantage because this guy just, he doesn't leave a lot of dirty laundry on the field. I'm due for a game, Mike, where the referees
Yeah.
don't have, let these guys
Yeah.
play for crying
Let
out
them
loud.
hand fight.
Let them play.
Offense, the receivers and DBs, they both, tug on each other's jerseys. Let that happen. Let it happen. And if it affects the play, yeah, go ahead, call the, make the call. If it's an obvious call, make it. But that hand fighting, the constant, holding of each other, the slight little push offs here and there, let that go. Let these guys go out and battle and play. Call the egregious stuff, call the obvious stuff. But that other stuff, man, that's just football. That's just guys battling. You got to let that go.
See, I hate when they took that out of the sport. That's what football was. It's guys
Yeah.
battling. You have guys between four lines and a whistle that battle. At some point, you got to
thing
let
is
them battle.
now, though, like even if, like, say you have crews that do that, all you're going to see on every social media thing is how they missed this call, how they missed that call. Oh, this is terrible. They got to call this. You got to call that. It's like people want to have, like we were saying, the battles, but then we'll be the first ones on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok going, why wasn't this called for my team? Why wasn't this called for my team? Like people want to have it both ways, and you can't. But so I'm in favor of them battle it out, and then call the egregious shit.
I mean, yeah. I was just gonna say that. Yeah. Let's move on. I was just gonna say that a lot of times, Mike, you just have to let what you see on social media just slide off. That's where you
No,
have a
no,
problem.
it's just like that's how like
you dig your heels in and you're looking for
but
battle.
I don't battle with people when I see everyone talking about the refs, this and that. Like, come on now. If this stuff happened for in favor of my team, I'm like, yeah, that's a great call. That's a beautiful call. Doesn't happen for my team. It's the bullshit calls I've ever seen in my life. But some of these people, they live, eat, and breathe finding the tiniest little mistake of the officials and blowing it out of proportion. Like, it's sports, man.
Mike, somebody used the term toxic for the way our fan base is on social media, and I got to say, I can't disagree with
With
that.
the Steeler fan base,
People are absolutely nuts. They're out of their
I
minds.
think every sports fan is toxic once they get online and on Twitter. It's a cesspool, dude. Like I used to find some good information from like reporters from here in Pittsburgh and league wide and what's going on throughout the NFL. But my God, the posts you have to go through.
I mean, Pittsburgh fans got really bad lately. Maybe we need a win. Maybe a
But
playoff
even
win
when
will
we
fix
were
this.
winning, dude, it was a toxic hellscape.
Well, we didn't have the internet like
No,
we didn't
I'm
have
saying
social
this
media
year.
like we
I'm
did when we were
saying this
winning.
year when we were rattling off wins.
You got to figure when we were winning, we didn't even have social media the way we have it.
Imagine if we did though. How many people would be going after Ben for Ben threw 2 interceptions? People are like, yeah, but he threw 4 touchdowns. Yeah, but those 2 interceptions, the worst thing ever.
Gregory says, "What do you guys think of Russell over Fields? I love Fields. I thought he should have remained a starter." I could have went either way. Both of these guys, when Fields was playing, I wanted to see what Russell Wilson had. But when Russell Wilson came in, I sure missed Fields' legs. I really think, one guy you get a 4-2, the other guy, basically the same kind of record. I think you could really go either way. Do you want to go with the experience or the youth? I think that was the question when it boiled down, and they wanted a guy who could step up to the line and spot problems and change his plays and things like that. So I can't say I disagree with that. However, I like Justin Fields. I like the things he was able to do when he played as well. Let's get to the next question here. Mark Melissa, I hope we get Rudolph and Mac Jones, then draft a guy. I think eventually we might have to start considering drafting a guy.
Let's get Cam Ward this year. Just draft him and sit him on the bench.
Or that kid from that dude from Arizona State, quarterback.
I'm okay with that.
I would take him in a minute. Listen, we'll get into the college games here in just a second. Justin Fields is the best running quarterback in the league. The best quarterback the league has ever seen. I'm sorry, in the league, he is below average quarterback. He has issues between his ears, can't process and respond to what he sees. So he runs. That was the point I was kind of making with Russell getting the nod because of his experience. I think that all plays into that. Also, Patriots says he also gets hurt in each and every year and misses 3 games each year. The trend should continue and get worse, not better. One more from Patriot. He says no QB sits on the bench in year 4 to develop. You can either play or not play in today's NFL. That's going to be interesting when it comes down to this offseason and what we decide to do with these quarterbacks. Phil says, wait an effing minute. Versus Kansas City, defense looked bad, but Steelers defense caused turnovers via downs, fumbles, picks in these 3 losses. Smith, Wilson, and offense come up empty every time they get the ball back.
Yeah, but still the defense giving up. Since the Bengals game, 44 points, 27, 27, 34, 29. That's, 38, 14.
But the offense also has to do something in that gauntlet as well.
They're allowed to play 60 minutes as well and shut teams down when we need them to as well. That's the thing. The offense isn't blameless, but to act like the defense isn't blameless, that's a bridge too far. They are part of the problem as well. They're giving up long scoring drives. They're giving up quick scoring plays as well. They're not blameless.
All right. Mark Malone says Steeler fans have been tormented by Tomlin for too long. You know what the thing is? I know. I'm not going to say if I agree or disagree, but I'm going to say I know. Obviously I live here. Feel the Steel. I do get pissed every time Steel defense turns the ball over in 3 and out or punt. Absolutely, no 2 ways about it. And then Mark Malone says Tomlin has hopefully unleashed his last hellish December on us. We have been hitting late season losing streaks the past few years. That is a truth. We'll see if that changes moving forward. Let me take a quick look what I have here, Mike, because we do have to grab your picks today. It's going to be a quick because Derpy's not in. He's sick with his Aunt Peach's pneumonia or whatever he has going on there. His strep throat from Aunt Peach's pie. So, Mike, today is going to be just you. We're going to fly through it because I'm ready to do it, man. We don't have a Thursday game. I thought there was a Thursday game. There's no Thursday game, but we're going to do it today anyway because we might have a little surprise tomorrow. If Mike behaves himself, I might have a surprise for him tomorrow. So let's knock this out. Let's get to these NFL scores, or I'm sorry, the NFL games of the week. All right. So, Mike, first games of the week are going to be Saturday games. And, of course, the Steelers and Bengals play the 8 o'clock game. But the game to start off the weekend is going to be between the Browns and the Ravens at Baltimore. Mike, who do you have winning this game?
Baltimore. Cleveland has given up.
All right, second game. Oh, geez, where'd everything? There it goes. Second game, Mike. We're going to skip the Steeler game. We'll do that last for tiebreaker purposes. To the first 1 o'clock game Sunday, the Panthers at the Falcons. Ooh. Mike, who do you like? Panthers at the Falcons.
Go with the Carolina the road upset. I think they're due for a win, and I like the way Bryce Young's been starting to play.
All right, so next game, Mike, is the Texans at the Titans.
Ooh.
The Texans at the Titans, the team that I'm shooting for in the playoffs, to be honest. They will be traveling to Tennessee. Mike, who wins that game? Texans at Titans.
I think the
Texans are going to want to get a little momentum themselves.
I think Houston wins. I think Houston wins, but it's going to be an ugly game, and it's going to be a close game.
No Mason Rudolph.
No Rudy Magic.
All right, next game, Mike, some NFC East. The Giants at the Eagles. The Giants, who finally bring it together last week in Week 17 and win a pretty impressive game over the Colts, actually. They traveled to Philadelphia to take on Kenny Pickett, his broken ribs, and the Philadelphia Eagles. At this moment, as far as I know, Giants at Eagles. Who do you like?
I would take the Eagles, even with, they're going to sit a bunch of their starters, key players. They still have more than enough talent to handle New York.
I couldn't agree more. Mike, the next game is the AFC South. Jacksonville Jaguars at Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts, they get eliminated from the playoff contention last week. The Jaguars, they've been eliminated since week 2. Which one of these teams decides they want to win on Sunday this week?
I'm gonna go Jacksonville. I just don't like this whole vibe from the Indy team. They're more worried about getting into a war of words with Pat McAfee and then playing. They got a quarterback who quits in the middle of drives. Yeah, I think Jacksonville finds a way to win.
All right, back to the NFC East. Looks like a lot of division
Yep.
games this week, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. The back to the NFC East, the Commanders and the Cowboys. Of course, a viewer on the board today loves his Commanders. Mike, Commanders at the Cowboys. The Commanders just clinched their
Yeah.
playoff spot. The Cowboys clinched their spot on the couch. Which one of these teams win on Sunday?
I didn't look to see if Commanders are arresting anyone, but I'm going to go with the Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels is going to want to put a nice little bow on his really good rookie season.
NFC Central North. I'm sorry, the Bears at the Packers.
Ooh.
Mike, the Bears at the Packers. The Packers are in. Um, I don't. I think they're kind of right around the spot that they're going to get no matter what. Bears, they do what the Bears do. Who wins this game?
Green Bay running away. They're a 10-point favorite at home. I think it's going to be more than that.
Saints at Buccaneers. Buccaneers trying to wrap up that playoff spot. Mike, Saints, Spencer Rattler, Buccaneers.
Give me Tampa. There's no way. There's no chance in hell that New Orleans should win this game.
Bills at Patriots. Is there any way that this juggernaut, the Buffalo Bills, loses to the Patriots this week? Mike, I think even if Josh Allen takes a nap at halftime, and is there any way the Patriots win this football game? They are the worst team in the league.
Yeah, there's no way. Buffalo's going to win. New England, they're gonna. I think New England might tank it to guarantee the number 1 overall pick. I would do it. Fuck it.
Chargers at Raiders. The Raiders. I'm sorry, Chargers at Raiders.
Give me the Chargers. That Raider team is looking god awful. They need quarterback.
Yeah, they need
quarterback help big time. Whew.
Game in the NFC West, the last place 49ers, I believe, they take on the Arizona Cardinals. Niners at Cardinals, Mike, that is the 425 game.
I'm going to go with Arizona. It looks like San Fran, they're shutting down players. Josh Dobbs is getting the start. I don't know who else is getting shut down out there, so give me Arizona.
This game should be good in theory, but there's going to be players sat. I don't know what exactly you're going to get competition-wise. Sorry about that, guys. The Chiefs at the Broncos. I think this is a game the Broncos can win. I think this is a game that the Broncos do win. I think the Chiefs finish the season 15-2 because they probably don't play everybody and they get beat by kind of a decent Broncos team, right?
Yeah, they're a playoff team. Their Broncos are coming on strong. They're a 10.5-point favorite at home, but there's gonna be a way. Kansas City's going to win. They're going to screw over. Carson Wentz is going to find a way to screw over a couple teams. Give me Kansas City in an upset at Denver.
All right.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's weird to say Kansas City in an upset.
Mike, these two teams right now looks like the Rams are the one, but it's going to be a important game. I don't know if anybody in that division's over 500. 500, I'm just kidding. They are, but it sure doesn't seem like it. Mike, the Seattle Seahawks, they traveled out to La La Land to play the Rams. Mike, Seahawks, Rams, who wins that football game?
I'm going to go with LA. I just think they have just enough to beat Seattle. Both teams, they're not great teams. They're borderline good teams, but I think LA.
Mike, week 18 is so hard to predict. Because you don't know who's playing, you don't know who's trying, you don't know who's not. I would not put, if I was a gambling man, I wouldn't put any money on this week. I just wouldn't. Such a tough week to pick. Mike, to the AFC East, couple more games here. This is Sunday, 425. Dolphins at Jets.
Give me the Dolphins. This Jets team, it's in a complete disarray. It's already come out and saying, they're more than likely going to walk away from Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams in the offseason.
Who would have thought? I thought this team
the minute they got Devontae, everything was supposed to turn around, and he was supposed to come in and be the savior in New York, and him and Aaron Rodgers fell flat. Give me Miami. Miami in the cold, on the road.
Wow.
I know, but they're playing a team with a losing record, so they should win. That should balance out the weather.
Interesting. I might have to take the Jets just because of
that. I know, it's out in the cold.
Mike, the last game of the week, it's a Sunday night game. This game is for all the marbles. This game is going to be watched by a lot of people. I promise you that. This is the game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions, head-to-head, not only for the division, but these two teams have 2 losses on the season. They're going head-to-head, Mike, for the number 1 NFC seed in the NFC side, week 1 bye, first round bye. Mike, I'm losing my mind with this one. I want to say Detroit so bad because that's such an easy thing to do. I like Minnesota, but who do you like? The
I
Vikings
like
at the Lions.
Minnesota as well. Sam Darnold should be in the talk for MVP, but he should be a comeback player of the year. Just from what his career was to now, dude made himself a shit ton of money this year. Like Chad Brown said, like probably like 40 million a year, and deserved, especially with what he was able to do with those weapons up there. I'd keep him there. Detroit, their injuries have caught up with them. A lot of key injuries on defense. I think Minnesota wins and locks up the division.
And they played in a really good division as well.
Three really good teams.
Detroit twice, when you play the Packers twice, and the fact that this team still only has 2 losses, it's pretty. That's why I'm kind of jumping on this Minnesota thing. I would like to see them.
One of the losses was to the Lions, but it was only like a 2-point loss. Yeah, 2-point loss.
That and Detroit's fans are getting obnoxious.
They are.
So you know what?
I called it. I told you.
And then, Mike, we got to go back to the Steeler game, of course, the 8 o'clock game on Saturday between the Steelers and the Bengals. Like Mike said, we are 2.5-point dogs at home. But, Mike, I need a winner, and I need a score for your tiebreaker on this, and then we could wrap this up.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I'm going to take Pittsburgh 31-28.
31-28. Sounds good. And that looks like a point total of 59 on your tiebreaker. Let me just expose you real quick what it was that Derpy did as far as his tiebreaker.
I thought you said you were going to expose me to Derpy.
But he did. He has his Aunt Peach's throat issue, and he did send in his votes via absentee ballot. Mike, he has the Steelers 28-17.
Okay.
28-17, and you picked 31-28. So there you go. Putting the picks in the vault till next week. They won't come out until all the games are played. There's no Monday Night Football games left. So Monday morning we will be able to go over this and see who won. Mike, it's getting down to you have to mount a comeback here. You really do, because Derpy's ahead. You still have the playoffs. I think you're in it, but
I was like, I have to win this week, wild card round, divisional round, conference round, and the Super Bowl.
And the Pro Bowl games.
Shut up.
Let me touch on a couple of these messages, Mike, and then we're going to hop over. We have a few other things to talk about from other sports around Western PA. I'm going to start right around here with Mr. Okay, Greg said, behave yourself, Mike. Also, Dylan Green. Dylan, welcome. He says, I feel like Tomlin needs good coordinators to be successful. When he had Arians, Flores, and LeBeau, even Haley, we were at our best. I am not going to disagree. I think good coordinators would go a long way. Greg says, Texas one and done. You know what? If it's against us, I love that idea. I love the fact that Texas could go one and done. Houston, if they play us in the first round. Phil Steel says, pissed off, Men of Steel, 100. Okay, Steelers pissed off, 100. Bungles, nothing. 90 rips Burrow's head off. I love that prediction. I will die on that hill. Also, Greg says Jets 100%, when what Mike had said. And Greg also says Steelers 100%, loser 3 straight. First team need win and get in 100. Okay, absolutely. I might be missing one. Okay. And Mark Malone says, come up for air, Derp. Jeez. Yeah.
I don't want to know what Derp is doing under those bed sheets. How does Mark Malone know what's going on? Does he? He might set up the spy camera.
You haven't seen the video, have you? Not. Derpy, Mark Malone, and Aunt Peaches. Gregory says, Happy New Year, guys, to you and your fam. Have a nice year. Discovered the channel. Thank you, man. We thank you, Gregory. We appreciate that, and we hope you come back and you have a great New Year as well. A couple things off of topic from the Steelers, guys, is the college football playoffs, which continue today. We were supposed to have a Final Four set today. Unfortunately, it didn't play out that way. There was obvious incident down in New Orleans that I don't really want to get into. But the game that was supposed to be played yesterday, I believe it's the Sugar Bowl, that game between
Notre Dame and Georgia.
Who's playing today? Notre Dame and Georgia. Notre Dame is the number 5. Georgia's the number 2. That game got postponed until today at 4 o'clock. So you could catch the last game. This will make a Final Four in the 3 games that were played over the past couple days. 2 days ago, Penn State, they win big, 31-14 over Boise State. Penn State was the number 4. Boise was the 9. Boy, these first round bye teams, they're really taking a beating, I got to tell you. Arizona State, they had a bye. They are to 12, but they lose to the 3 who played the first round. Texas wins 39-31 over Arizona State. So Texas advances, Penn State advances. Ohio State, they also win over the team that has a bye. So far 3 for 3 on the teams that had byes losing. Ohio State wins that one 41-21. They advance and they play the winner of the game that is going to happen today. So Penn State plays. Is that right, Mike? Does Penn State plays Texas? Correct.
We play the winner of Notre Dame, Georgia.
Oh, you play the winner. Okay, so Ohio State and Texas. Ohio State and Texas will play one another, and Penn State is just waiting to see who wins this game today between Notre Dame and Georgia. I like Georgia in this one. I know they have the bye, but I think this is going to be the outlier, Mike. I think they win. They will be the one team with the bye that gets the win in this second round, and they will face Penn State next. So there you go, guys. Top 3 of the Final 4 teams are in place, waiting today till 4 o'clock to see Notre Dame and Georgia go at it to see who takes that last spot and is going to get ready to take on Penn State next week. We'll get more into that even just in a second. Let me get through some other things here. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they were back in action over the past couple of days. On Tuesday night, they played the Red Wings. They took a loss 4-2. Their record dropped to 17-17-5, but they'll be back at it tomorrow night at 7 o'clock when they travel down to Florida to take on the Panthers. Pitt's basketball team, they get another win, this time over Cal. They win 86-74. That increases Pitt's hardwood record to 11-2 overall. California drops to 7-6. Next match for the Pitt Panthers is going to be Saturday at 6:30 at home against Stanford. Mike, let's catch up on a couple of these questions, and then we'll jump into some the trivia of the day. Let's see. All right, here we go. The stash knows all. The stash knows all. The stash always knows all. Derpy's aunt has taken a ride. Georgia. Greg got Georgia.
Ooh.
I think Georgia. I gotta go with Georgia too. How do you think Georgia fares against Penn State?
They win. Penn State's gonna get too cute. I saw it in that game. Our offensive coordinator, he can't help but smell his own farts inside our own 20. Let's run cute little option plays that go for nothing on third down.
Field of Steel says, and to all on the chat board, let's all give TJ Watt on being the Pittsburgh Steelers 2024 MVP a big boom. You got it, baby. Boom. TJ. Gregory says that'll be a hell of a game. Texas, Ohio State. I agree. Texas was my pick, so I'm rooting for Texas to continue to win and beat them, of course. And Greg says, "Ooh, Pens, go Caps." And that's about the time we lose Greg. No, I'm just kidding.
Might have to lose connection on that one.
Hey, I got to tell you, I respect that team. What we went through with them and Crosby and Ovechkin over the years, I respect the Capitals a lot more than I used to. I could put it to you that way. Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website?
Dumyinzers.com. Check it out, everyone. Especially if you're new here. We have all of our social media links over there, links to the Discord over there, merch store over there. Check it out, the2dumyinzers.com.
All right, guys, go check it out, www.the2dumyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumyinzers.com. As Mike said, there's plenty of cool stuff over there. Go check it out at www.the2dumyinzers.com. All right, guys, question of the day. This is trivia time. How well do we know our enemy? This is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal question. Mike, put on your thinking cap. Everybody on the board, everybody at home. Here we go. Question of the day. Again, this is a Bengals question. What former WWE wrestler played for the Bengals during the strike games of 1987, guys? What former WWE, which was WWF at the time, of course, what WWF wrestler played for the Bengals during the strike games of 1987? Mike, take a moment to think that over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day right here on YouTube. All right, guys, question of the day and gals. The question is, what former WWF wrestler played for the Bengals during the strike games of 1987? Mike, do you have any guesses?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. Like, I have none.
Just throw a name out there.
Let's go with Hawk from Road Warriors.
All right, Mike says Hawk from the Road Warriors, not to be confused with Hawk Tua. Hawk from the Road Warriors. I'm going to wait for just one more second, see if anybody throws anything on the board. The question of the day is this, guys. What former WWF wrestler played for the Bengals during the strike games of 1987? Mike's guess, and it was entirely a guess. Right, Mike?
Guess.
Was Hawk from the Road Warriors. Phil Steele's not feeling it, man. He doesn't know either. Guys, what former WWF wrestler played for the Bengals during the strike games of 1987? Greg says Pillman. Mark Malone says, dang, was it Boz? Phil Steele said Stone Cold Steve Austin. I know there was a Draws. that was a wrestler. Was there a Boz? Sounds right. Close enough for me. All right, guys. Question of the day. What WWF wrestler played for the Bengals during the strike games of 1987? Mike, the correct answer, Greg on the board nailed it. Flying Brian Pillman.
That's right. Oh, that's
Flying
right.
Brian Pillman did play for the Bengals during the strike games in 1987.
I forgot about Brian Pillman.
We learned something. I didn't know that. But that is the answer, guys. Great job on that. Also, a couple of things I do want to say. We got picks. Derpy's out with his throat. Finch will be back tomorrow. But also, guys, we do have a guest stopping by the show tomorrow as well. Mike, this is for your Penn State. Some Penn State talk heading into the weekend, and even some Steelers talk. Mike, a local from right here in Pittsburgh. We're going to have on our show tomorrow. Do tune in for Derek Moy, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, the former Penn State Nittany Lions standout and Rochester Rams standout right here in our county. So do check us out tomorrow. Derek Moy will be here, guys. That is going to be former Pittsburgh Steeler, former Penn State Nittany Lion, to talk about this Penn State team possibly going to the national championship. But guys, on the board, do put your questions. I do want to say that the other day, I think that there was a little confusion. We will ask the Steelers your questions. I think when we were talking to Chad Brown, there was a little debate. Someone said, "Well, I don't think they answer questions," but we're gonna make it better. We're gonna certainly. So just put your questions, comments, everything in the board. When we do have guests, we will certainly ask them to the football players or whatever athletes or guests we have. So don't hesitate to put your stuff on the board. We will certainly ask, because tomorrow Derek Moy will be in to talk to Mike and myself and Finch about this Penn State Nittany Lions football team, the Steelers, and what they got going on. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Do check us out tomorrow. Also, there is a lot of cool things coming up with this new year. We have a big meeting between everybody here this weekend. I think we're going to get together. We're going to talk about some more of these future plans and putting them together and some ideas. So a lot of stuff. Also, I do want to get back. I think at one point on the board here, I seen Roger asking question: does the podcast still run as usual during the off season? It does. It runs all year long. We do cover in depth. We cover free agency, the draft, preparing for the draft, the free agency signings, waiver signings. Everything Steelers, we do cover its entirety all year round. We will get into spring football, though, a little bit after the NFL season's over. We will also, sports will be going all along, as I said, and also keep an eye because we do have other things coming as well. I think you guys are going to enjoy a lot. Let's see on the board. Good luck this week, fellas. Thank you, Greg. You as well. Mark Malone, Brian Bosworth. I forgot what we were talking. Oh, was he a mustache too?
He was the guest from the trivia question, dude.
Oh, that was from his trivia question, or from the trivia question. Okay. And that wasn't the correct answer, was it, Mike?
No, it was Brian Pillman.
You're
all confused right now, man.
I'm not
You are.
confused. I'm just trying to mess with your head. Roger says, "Excellent. I'll be tuning in." Yes, please do, my friend. It's going to be good. Again, we we will not give up. We'll still be fighting hard all year long to get the most up to date Steeler news and talk out to everybody. So we appreciate that as well. Mike, anything before we do start getting ready to wrap things up, man?
Oh, T. Higgins is going to be in Pittsburgh next year. He's going to be in Pittsburgh next year. Don't, no. I'll fight you for him. Fight you. You'll probably win, but I'll fight you for him.
Hey, we got the Greg got 2 strikes on him in the past
right?
5
You
minutes
say,
of the
go
Capitals.
Cavs, and he wants T. Higgins. I like you. But come on now. Leave something for us. We need something here in Pittsburgh.
What do you got, Mike?
I got
We can
nothing.
wrap this thing up.
I got nothing today. Again,
give me something on your Penn State. I want your take on that.
Penn State might have the best running back duo in the nation. Nick Singleton and Katron Allen.
Better than the guy they faced. I got to tell you
the
that.
guy that
still
we faced,
was not impressed.
He did well, man. He had up over 100 yards
Mike,
for us. He converted a 3rd and 21 on a run play where he broke like 6 tackles on one play.
Mike, he ran 30 times for 100 yards.
It got
that's three
behind
that's three,
a very
yards of carry.
Porous offensive line and against an excellent front seven.
You think he's going to get a great offensive line in the year?
He's going to get a lot better offensive line. Listen, that dude was still bowling people over in our defense, man.
Hey, I'm still the guy who's not impressed with Barkley.
Hey,
so
I know
it's going to take a while for you.
There's something wrong with that. You think
yeah,
I know. But you think Najee is better than Saquon?
Well, he is, and I could give you the numbers to prove it. Actually,
is he only like 100 yards away from the all-time rushing record in a single season?
Again, put him behind Philadelphia's offense. He might be.
That's if he can get his legs moving. He can run fast
because the first 4 years behind a average line, he didn't seem to do that. So behind a Philadelphia line, yeah, I think that maybe Najee could do it as well. It's hard to say. But I could certainly give you the scoop on how Najee has performed better in the first 4 years of his career than Najee,
running back of all time.
Nobody said that, and all I'm saying, because you're trying to ward it off, but he does have better numbers in his first 4 years in the NFL than Saquon Barkley. That's all you could go by, is their first 4 years, because he's only played 4 years. But also, we do want to say this: check us out tomorrow. Make sure you stop by, because we will have Derek Moy, the former Penn State Nittany Lions standout, the former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, right here on the show. We'll be talking some Penn State. We'll be talking some Steelers, getting ready to go into the weekend, Mike. A lot of things going on, and we have You know what's really throwing me off is these college football playoffs. I'm watching these playoffs during the middle of the week, and I can be honest with you, I don't even know what day it is. I was watching the games yesterday, and I thought, okay, well, today's Saturday, so on Monday's show, and it wasn't even close to Saturday. It was Wednesday. So I love it. I'm not going to say it's a problem, but it's hard to keep on
like you're easily confused, and we can't have you having college football.
You're the easily. How am I the easily confused? You're the one that's easily confused. I'm just
Justin
saying
Wilson.
All this football is like it's amazing. It's great, and I just can't get used to it. I wish we could have this all the time.
Me too.
That's all I'm
saying.
Too. I know you're upset. I'm not
upset at all. My team.
Listen.
My team's in the semifinals of the in the college football playoffs.
They played 2 JV teams. Let's see how they do this week. That's all I got to say.
2 top 10 teams, baby.
Hey, it's behind us. Let's see how they do this week. That's all I got to say. Let's see how they do this week. Hey, nobody ever said Pitt was any good.
That's a great argument.
Was going to be in the play. Let's see. Phyllis Steele, let go of 22, draft the Sun Devil. I agree. I got to tell you, I liked a couple people from that Arizona State team. Didn't Barkley lose a season due to injury? Even take that season out, you're right. It's still not as good as Najee's first 4 seasons. It's true, Mike. I mean, you can shake your head all you want. Pull up the stats. It's right in front of you. Greg says holidays definitely throw everything off. No two ways about it. And I love all the extra football. Best time of the year. Mike, anything else, my man? We got to wrap this
I've been ready to wrap it up for like 45 minutes. Messing with you. No, no, I got nothing, man. Oh, great show today. I love everyone on the board. Greg, thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again. And yeah, everyone, tune back in tomorrow. I can't wait.
Hey, John, how you doing, man? Late join with John today. Great seeing you. I want to say Happy New Year to you, and I do want to say Happy New Year to everybody else as well on the board and watching at home. I'm glad to see everybody made it back today, and I'm glad to see that everybody had a safe New Year's. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow. I do want to say thank you to everybody Once again, we certainly we wouldn't do it without you. Everybody on the board, you guys always keep things interesting, and everybody at home as well. I guess my thing is, what's my thing? Do I have a thing? My thing is Happy New Year's, everybody. I'm glad everybody's safe. Everybody's alive. Everybody made it in today, and look forward to doing this for a whole nother year. So for Mike in the Steelers Central Mobile Studio, for myself, the two Dum Yinzers, everybody have a great day. Join us tomorrow. Derek Moy will be here with us for Friday to get ready to head into the weekend. Have a great one. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.